In 1965, during the Grand American Race Weekend at Lions Drag Strip in Wilmington, California, roughly 10,000 spectators filled the grandstands. The program was already underway when a compact red Dodge pickup eased toward the starting line. It was not entered in a class and had no elimination round to win. Its only job was to give the crowd a show. Then Bill Golden opened the throttle. The truck's nose climbed, the front tires left the pavement, and instead of dropping immediately back down, they remained suspended in the air. The pickup continued forward on its rear wheels while the audience erupted. The reaction became so intense that spectators poured toward the racing surface, forcing police officers to push them back from the asphalt. That run became the defining beginning of the Little Red Wagon story. The machine had existed before that afternoon, and Golden would continue driving versions of it for another 38 years. But the Wilmington appearance revealed something new. Drag racing did not have to be only a contest of elapsed times, trophies, and class rules. It could also be theater. In a few seconds, Bill Maverick Golden turned a modified Dodge truck into an attraction unlike anything the sport had seen. Golden had been born on December 31st, 1933, in Gallatin County in southeastern Illinois. His parents were Thad Golden and Mary May Fields Golden. Nothing in the surviving record suggests an unusual childhood. He appears to have grown up as an ordinary Midwestern boy before joining the United States Marine Corps and being sent to Camp Pendleton in Southern California. That assignment placed him at the intersection of two worlds that would shape the rest of his life. In the Marines, he worked in the motor pool. Outside the base, he discovered drag racing. Southern California already had a deep speed culture. Competitors had spent years chasing records at Bonneville and El Mirage, and that dry lake tradition had flowed into organized quarter-mile racing at Lions, San Gabriel Valley Drag Strip, Santa Ana Dragway, and other tracks. Wally Parks had established a national sanctioning organization in 1951 in an effort to move racing away from public roads and onto regulated facilities. At the same time, Detroit was beginning to understand the commercial value of the sport. A victory on Sunday could influence what customers bought on Monday. Golden began racing on weekends while he was still serving in the Marines. His first regular competition car was a Dodge Custom Royal. That choice earned him the nickname Maverick. According to the story, an announcer gave him the name because Golden kept racing Dodges while most of the field relied on Chevrolets and Fords. Choosing a Mopar was not the easiest path in the late 1950s. A driver who wanted straightforward superstock success could follow the crowd towards Chevrolet. Golden instead concentrated on making Chrysler equipment perform when many racers believed it could not. His Custom Royal ran a 14.70-second quarter mile. That was not record-setting, but it was quick enough for Chrysler to notice him. Factory attention changed the scale of his operation. By 1960, Golden had secured a parts arrangement under which Chrysler supplied components in exchange for representation of the track. He used the relationship to improve his car season after season. His 1960 Dodge Phoenix carried a 383 cubic inch engine and a factory TorqueFlite automatic transmission. The transmission's spring-loaded system normally forced an early upshift at about 3,200 revolutions per minute. Golden reworked it so the engine could remain in gear until roughly 5,000 revolutions per minute, allowing it to stay in a stronger part of the power band. He also removed the first 15 inches from the cross ram intake runners, creating a plenum that substantially altered the engine's behavior. The Phoenix eventually ran 13.7 seconds at 103 miles per hour, a serious performance level for 1960. 2 years later, Chrysler was supplying him with factory-prepared cars carrying 413 Max wedge engines rated at 420 horsepower. In 1962, Golden won stock eliminator at the Winter Nationals at Fontana Drag City. In a final, he defeated Dino Don Nicholson and his 409 Chevrolet, then regarded as one of the strongest combinations in the category. Golden's Dodge was the only Chrysler product to claim a class victory at the entire event. He finished that season with another major result at Lions, defeating a field of 149 factory-supported drivers. By then, he was no longer simply a talented regional racer. He had become one of Chrysler's important superstock representatives. For 1963, Golden worked with Jim Nelson, a dragmaster, to prepare a Dodge 330 powered by a 426 Max wedge. The combination won 7 of 8 Superstock Eliminator titles and also captured the Midwest Superstock Championship. Years later, the car would be selected as one of the 10 greatest Superstock machines of its era. His performance continued to improve in 1964. With a 426 Hemi-powered Dodge 330, Golden ran 10.94 seconds at 131 miles per hour on the Ultrastock circuit. He later spoke of an unbeaten streak during that period, although he could never provide a precise total. The exact number mattered less than a larger point. By the middle of the decade, he ranked among the best factory superstock drivers in the United States. Then Chrysler gave him pickup. The vehicle began as a Dodge A100, a compact 4-control truck with a 90-inch wheelbase. Its cab-over layout placed the driver above the front axle and gave the body a short, upright profile. In factory form, the A100 used a 225 cubic inch slant 6, producing roughly 145 horsepower. It was designed as a work vehicle, not a competition machine. Frank Wiley, Chrysler's public relations and marketing director, saw promotional potential in changing that. A race-powered A100 could place Dodge trucks in front of drag racing audiences while demonstrating that the brand's commercial vehicles could survive extreme performance. The idea fit the marketing logic of 1964 perfectly. Jim Schaefer and John Collier of Dodge's Special Equipment Truck Division were assigned to build it. They installed a 426 race Hemi in the pickup bed, supporting it within a welded steel subframe. Making the arrangement fit required major surgery. Openings measuring approximately 33 by 19 inches were cut through both the rear of the cab and the floor of the bed, so the engine could occupy the required position and the driveline could reach the rear axle. Weight reduction was equally aggressive. The heater, spare tire, dashboard, front bumper, and body sealer were removed. The steel doors were eventually replaced with fiberglass pieces. Every unnecessary pound was treated as an obstacle. Relocating the Hemi behind the cab transformed the truck's balance. A standard A100 carried about 58% of its weight over the front axle and 42% over the rear. Moving a large V8 and transmission rearward reversed that relationship to something close to 48% front and 52% rear. On a vehicle with only 90 inches between the axles, the combination of rearward weight bias and Hemi torque made the front end extremely difficult to keep on the ground under full acceleration. Chrysler had intended to create a fast promotional pickup. It had not planned to invent a wheel stander. The truck simply revealed what it wanted to become. Further development took place at Dick Bransner Enterprises in Troy, Michigan. Bransner was deeply involved in Chrysler's racing program and was associated with the Color Me Gone Dodge driven by Roger Linnemuth. His operation refined the A100's behavior, incorporated a pivoting rear subframe for stability, and used Hilborn mechanical fuel injection. Accounts differ on the exact order of the engine changes. Golden later told Engine Builder magazine that when he first encountered the truck at Bransner's shop, it carried a supercharged 426 Hemi burning a 30% nitromethane mixture. Other versions of the story place the fuel injection conversion during the same development period. The surviving record does not establish a perfect sequence, but all versions agree on the essential fact. The truck produced enormous power from a position far behind the point where a conventional vehicle would normally carry it. Bransner fabricator J. Howell handled early testing. During those runs, the A100 began lifting its front wheels. Someone photographed Howell with the truck standing on its rear tires, and the image appeared on the cover of Chrysler's Internal Bin and Bench Shop magazine. It became the first published view of the machine in the pose that would later make it famous. Frank Wiley then arranged for Golden to purchase the vehicle and take on the road. The agreement also involved filming a Dodge truck television commercial. Footage from the shoot reportedly appeared on an evening news broadcast. Before the truck had established any competitive record, publicity was already turning it into a legend. That build-up led directly to the 1965 appearance at Lions. During one quarter-mile pass, the truck performed 7 separate wheel stands in front of the 10,000-person crowd. The audience surged toward the strip, police were called, and an East Coast promoter quickly offered Golden substantial money to bring the act to another track. Golden recognized the opportunity immediately. The Little Red Wagon would not be developed primarily to chase class championships. Its future was as a traveling exhibition machine. The decision matched the economic reality of mid-1960s drag racing. The sport was divided between sanctioning bodies with different philosophies. The organization, led by Wally Parks, emphasized structured class competition, regulation, and safety. It had prohibited nitromethane between 1957 and 1964 and had been cautious about accepting early funny cars. Jim Tice's rival organization, run openly as a business from 1959 onward, placed greater emphasis on spectacle and ticket sales. Drag historian Brett Kepner later summarized the difference by explaining that the rival group understood itself not merely as a racing organization, but as part of the entertainment business. Below the national bodies were hundreds of independent tracks, especially throughout the South and Midwest. Many survived through match races and exhibition bookings. Promoters needed packed grandstands, and a machine capable of producing the reaction scene at Lions was enormously valuable. Golden understood the arrangement better than most. He accepted bookings constantly and developed a reputation for appearing regardless of conditions. He claimed to have performed in snow and in crosswinds reaching 30 miles per hour. His explanation was simple. Spectators had paid to watch him run, and he did not want to disappoint them. People who worked with him said that was more than publicity language. If he reached the track, he intended to make the pass. Entertainment alone, however, would not have sustained the act. Golden still had to solve the problem of controlling a pickup whose steering tires were several feet above the pavement. During a wheel stand, the normal steering system became useless. The A100 could be traveling near 120 miles per hour with only its rear tires, rear bumper, and open tailgate touching the track. Because the driver sat above the front axle, raising the truck's nose also lifted the entire cab. Forward vision disappeared almost completely. Golden's civilian career at Douglas Aircraft exposed him to aerospace engineers and to a culture of solving stability and control problems systematically. During the winter of 1965 to 66, he applied that mindset to the Little Red Wagon and developed a set of systems that transformed accidental wheel stands into repeatable performances. The first was independent rear brake steering. Large Hurst disc brakes were fitted to the rear wheels and controlled separately by hand levers near the steering position. With the front tires airborne, Golden could apply one rear brake or the other and make small directional corrections. The method was mechanically crude, but consistency mattered more than elegance. At speed, even a limited ability to influence direction could keep the truck within the lane. The second system centered on the tailgate. Golden mounted 8 individually adjustable shock absorbers to the open gate. Before a run, he could alter their settings according to the track surface, humidity, temperature, and wind. The tailgate and rear bumper acted as contact points during the wheel stand. Controlling their angle and resistance helped determine how high the truck rode and how calmly it moved down the strip. Around 1970, he introduced a third major change by converting the cab to center steering. The driver's position was moved to the middle, and the steering bar was linked to 2 master cylinders operating the independent rear brakes. Sitting on the center line improved Golden's physical sense of the truck's movement and gave him more direct feedback about whether it was drifting. The engine was also installed at a 12-degree downward angle. This helped maintain proper fluid feed when the truck approached a near vertical attitude and lowered the center of gravity as much as the layout allowed. Every run began with careful alignment. Golden positioned the A100 by using telephone poles near the starting line as visual references. Once the front end rose, a piece of tape placed to the 12 o'clock position on the steering wheel became one of his few remaining guides. From that point, he drove largely by feel. The movement transmitted through the seat the sound of the bumper against the pavement, and the response of the rear brake controls. He could not watch the lane in the normal sense because the road ahead had disappeared from view. Historian Phil Burgess later suggested that Golden's approach may have been influenced by the aircraft environment in which he worked. Put more directly, Golden had adapted aerospace style thinking to the unusual task of guiding a pickup down a drag strip on two wheels. The result was dependable enough to tour continuously through the late 1960s and into the 1970s. Crowds remained large, and imitators quickly appeared. Chuck Poole created the Chuck Wagon from another Dodge, a 100, and began touring in 1966. First Hemi Under Glass debuted at the 1965 NHRA Spring Nationals in Bristol, Tennessee, only a few months after the famous line's appearance. Because it used a Plymouth Barracuda body, it became the first prominent car-based wheel stander, while the Little Red Wagon had established the truck format. The two machines are frequently presented as rivals, but their histories were more closely parallel. The Hemi Under Glass also carried its Hemi behind the driver, producing the same extreme rearward balance. Its original driver, Wild Bill Shrewsbury, later confirmed that the first wheel stand had not been planned. Like the Little Red Wagon, it found its real identity only after behaving in a way its builders had not intended. The acts were often booked to the same events, and no reliable account describes serious hostility between Golden and the Hemi Under Glass team. Decades later, Mike Mantle would own and operate both vehicles at the same time, making him the only driver known to have performed in each of the two most famous wheel standers. By the end of the 1960s, the exhibition category had expanded dramatically. Bob Perry toured a Greenbrier Chevrolet. Scotty Scott drove the world's wildest Corvair. Tommy Springfield appeared with a triple-engine Chevrolet Nova. Polly Swindler created the backup pickup, arranged so that it appeared to race backward. What began with Golden's unexpected performance at Lions had become an entire branch of drag racing entertainment. The Little Red Wagon's physical history is more difficult to reconstruct than its cultural influence. Some official accounts state that 4 separate trucks existed. Mopar enthusiasts have argued for 5 or 6. Mike Mantle, who later obtained the damaged original, examined serial numbers and found that the vehicle Golden referred to as number 3 carried the serial identity of number 1. The A100's unibody construction complicates the question. Its cab and bed formed a single structure rather than separate assemblies bolted to a conventional frame. After a major crash, a new truck could therefore include large portions of an earlier vehicle surrounded by replacement material. Mantle concluded that the supposed individual trucks may have been successive stages of one continuously rebuilt machine rather than completely separate vehicles. That interpretation fits the accident history. Golden crashed the Little Red Wagon 3 times, and each incident caused greater damage than the last. The first wreck occurred in 1969. Few details survive, but the truck was repaired with whatever material could be saved. It crashed again in 1971 and was rebuilt using usable pieces from both damaged versions. The most violent accident came in 1975 at a poorly illuminated track in Quebec, Canada. It was late at night when the truck left its intended course and apparently struck a rut or surface defect. Witness accounts say it tumbled end over end between 6 and 9 times, then rolled sideways another 5 or 6 times. The engine and transmission were thrown completely out of the vehicle. Golden survived. No known film or photograph captured the crash, and the number of rotations differs because no observer could count them accurately in real time. What is certain is that the truck was destroyed badly enough to make another conventional repair impractical. Afterward, Golden converted a previously non-operational A100 into a working exhibition vehicle. That version served from the middle of the 1970s until his retirement in 2003, making it the longest-lived form of the Little Red Wagon. It used an aluminum-headed second-generation 426 Hemi. The personal cost of continuing the act for 38 years was severe. Golden rarely traveled with a large, permanent crew. At many events, he depended on mechanics and helpers assembled by the local sponsor. Friends and associates later said he broke nearly every bone in his body at least once, with several injuries occurring more than once. Even successful runs punished him. Each time the front end returned to the pavement, the impact traveled through the truck and into the driver. Repeated landings gradually compressed his spine. People who knew Golden throughout his career said he was visibly shorter by the time he retired than he had been when the exhibition began. His ability to continue for so long also depended on understanding the business side of the sport. After the mid-1960s, he was not primarily a conventional eliminator competitor. He was a touring attraction paid through appearance fees. Promoters hired him because the little red wagon-filled seats generated publicity and gave spectators a moment they would remember. For much of its career, it was arguably the strongest crowd-drawing exhibition vehicle in American drag racing. Hot Rod magazine called it America's most famous race vehicle in 1979. A machine with that level of recognition could remain profitable even as other wheel standards disappeared. Golden's connection with Chrysler never fit a simple definition. He began with a factory parts arrangement in 1960, received prepared cars by 1962, and later acquired the Little Red Wagon through Frank Wiley. He technically purchased the pickup rather than receiving it as a temporary loan. At the same time, Chrysler continued providing part support for decades, and Golden appeared in Dodge truck television advertising throughout the 1960s and 1970s. One local newspaper reported that he remained under a formal Dodge contract until approximately 1987. The exact financial terms have never been publicly documented. The commercial result is easier to see. Dodge's Little Red Express street trucks of 1978 and 1979 drew directly on the identity Golden had built around the wheel stander. Dodge produced 2,188 examples in 1978 and another 5,118 in 1979. Their name deliberately echoed the exhibition pickup that had spent years representing Dodge performance before live audiences. Hot Rod journalist Tom Taylor credited Golden's machine with creating the drag racing wheel stander sideshow and described it as the most famous and most photographed pickup in existence. Its image moved far beyond the racetrack. MPC offered a 1/25th scale model kit during the 1960s, later reissued by Lindbergh. Golden personally autographed some of those kits. Slot cars, cartoons, toys, photographs, and memorabilia followed. At the time the source text was prepared, more than 140 active eBay listings were connected to the Little Red Wagon. Across the surviving interviews and recollections, Golden's personality appears remarkably consistent. He was eccentric, intensely loyal to the spectators who came to see him, and willing to accept extraordinary physical risk in order to deliver the performance he had promised. That combination explains the endurance of the story. The Little Red Wagon began as a corporate experiment, became a wheel stander by accident, and survived because Bill Maverick Golden transformed that accident into a repeatable act. He did not merely drive a red pickup with its front wheels in the air. He created a new form of drag racing entertainment and spent nearly 4 decades proving that the show could be every bit as important as the race itself.